Good evening, everyone, and welcome into this week's Railsplitter Athletics Report. Rusty Peace has the night off. I'm Adam Haley. We've now entered into the month of November, and with the fall sports finally taking a back seat, they're trying to finish up with their South Atlantic Conference tournaments and postseason play. The winter sports are getting ready to be into effect here as women's and men's basketball is starting to get geared up here on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Tonight on tonight's show, we're going to talk about the men's golf team. They finished up their fall schedule over in Morristown at the Walter State Invitational. We'll talk about the men's and women's soccer team as they are just now entering into the South Atlantic Conference tournaments. Volleyball on campus is starting to work their way through the rest of their 2012 schedule and make a push toward the top seed in the 2012 South Atlantic Conference volleyball tournament. And men's and women's basketball, as we said, is getting ready to gear up. On tonight's show, we'll have women's basketball head coach Roger Hodge, and we'll talk about the 2012-2013 season. Stay tuned. More Railsplitter Athletics Report is coming up next.
Sigmund Communications is your local radio and television stations bringing your local information, local news, and the best music from yesterday and today. Sigmund Communications was established in 1987 on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Since then, we have been involved in community events and other projects. Sigmund Communications is not only your local radio and television stations, but we are a learning facility aimed at educating students in the field of broadcast communications. Sigmund Communications, not just the great building with satellites that sits on the hill.
We're now MediaStream, bringing home to you more and more improvements. As your hometown team, we're dedicated to bringing our friends and neighbors more service upgrades than ever before. Always available 24/7 customer service and technical support. 30-day money-back guarantee on services. Improved bundles that will save you money. Get ready to do more of the things you love with the people you love and with savings you'll love. Call 1-800-392-2662 for details. MediaStream, bringing it home to you.
Bringing it home to you.
Since 1973, DeRoyal has been a leader and an innovator in manufacturing products for the healthcare industry. DeRoyal supplies more than 20,000 products and product lines such as acute care, orthopedics, wound care, and trauma. DeRoyal is proud to be the largest supplier of orthopedic soft goods to clinics and hospitals in the nation. Since its start in Tazewell, Tennessee, DeRoyal has grown to open factories in over 29 locations worldwide and employs over 2,000 people. DeRoyal, a name you can trust and an employer you can count on.
Looking for efficient, compassionate, and comprehensive health care for you and your family? Visit the University Medical Clinic. All providers are faculty members of LMU's DeBusk College of Osteopathic Medicine and are board certified in their specialty. Multiple specialties available including family medicine, internal medicine, OBGYN, and osteopathic manipulative medicine. With locations in Harrogate and New Tazewell and most insurance plans accepted, the University Medical Clinic is here to serve you. Call 423-869-7193 for an appointment. University Medical Clinic.
Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Despite inclement weather throughout the tri-state area, the Lincoln Memorial University men's golf B team completed the 2012 fall schedule on Monday and Tuesday at Country Club of Morristown in the Walter State Invitational. Although weather conditions weren't ideal for the event, the Railsplitter B team turned a fifth-place performance with a team score of 474 to finish behind tournament champions Tusculum College with 459, Tennessee Wesleyan College, who placed second with a team score of 461, and Pfeiffer University, who took third with a 468, and Walter State Community College B team, who captured fourth with a combined two-day total of 473. Jamie Reed led the charge for the Railsplitters, turning in rounds of 73 and 40 for a two-day total of 113, good enough for third place, while teammate Parker Hall tied for fourth with rounds of 77 and 37 for a two-day combined total of 114. LMU's Garrett Metz and Rand Wasson also finished inside the top 10. Metz turned in scores of 79 and 36 for a total 115 to place in a tie for seventh, while Wasson shot an 80 and a 36 for a score of 116 and a tie for ninth place. LMU's Robert Gino, Tyler Davis, and Adam Long rounded out the field for the Railsplitters. Gino had a two-day total of 120 to finish tied for 17th, while Davis shot a 126 to place 28th overall, and Long turned in a 134 to take 32nd. Both LMU golf teams are now idle until the spring schedule gets underway in February. Now moving to men's basketball, on Tuesday evening, the Lincoln Memorial University men's basketball team officially kicked off the 2012-2013 season when they traveled to Tallahassee, Florida to take on defending Atlantic Coast Conference champion Florida State University in exhibition play. The Railsplitters, who entered the fifth season under the direction of head coach Josh Schertz, entered Tuesday's battle with the Seminoles as NCAA Division II's fifth nationally ranked team, according to the last week's edition of the NCAA News. Florida State returned 4 of 5 starters from a year ago and has been tabbed number 24 in the NCAA Division I preseason poll released last week. In the first half, things looked as though they were going to get out of hand early for the Railsplitters as Leonard Hamilton's Knowles pulled out to a 17-point lead on 2 different occasions before LMU went to the locker room trailing by 13. The second half was a different story entirely. After getting outscored by 13 in the first half, the Railsplitters set the nets on fire in the second half, hitting 57.1% of their shots while holding the Seminoles to only 45.5% from the field in the final 20 minutes of play. The result saw LMU cut a 17-point deficit to a 4-point game with 1:34 to go in the contest before Florida State was finally able to pull away inside the final minute for an 83-75 victory. Although head coach Josh Schertz wasn't available for comment after the game, he was quoted in an article written by the LMU Sports Information Office as saying, quote, "Obviously, I'm proud of our guys' effort. That being said, losing should never be acceptable, particularly at a place like ours. I would say it means a lot to our guys because they played their hearts out. Now it's back to work to shore up the areas we were exposed in tonight before November 10th, our opening night," end quote. The Railsplitters are scheduled for a Blue-Gray inter-squad game November 3rd in the Tex-Turner Arena. That will get underway at 7 p.m. and is free to the public. The LMU men will open the official schedule Saturday, November 10th, when they host Ohio Midwestern in the Tex-Turner Arena at 8 o'clock. Moving to men's soccer, the number 3 seed Lincoln Memorial University men's soccer team entered quarterfinal round play of the 2012 South Atlantic Conference men's soccer tournament on Wednesday afternoon when they hosted number 6 seed Catawba College at the LMU Soccer Complex. Wednesday's match was originally supposed to have been played on Tuesday, but Mother Nature forced most teams in the East Tennessee area to play a day later. Although the match lasted 90 minutes, all South Atlantic Conference first-team selection Mario Pinto scored what would be the game-winning goal in the 11th minute with help from teammate Eric Bedinger to give the Railsplitters the early lead in the eventual win. Lincoln Memorial put 8 shots on frame during the match while holding the Indians to only 2 en route to earning their second consecutive South Atlantic Conference tournament semifinal appearance. Incidentally, Lincoln Memorial University forward Mario Pinto was named this week as a South Atlantic Conference Player of the Year by head coaches throughout the league. The junior forward currently leads the nation in goals scored with 21 goals while helping the Railsplitters to their best season record since earning a spot in the 2007 NCAA Division II National Championship. Joining Pinto on all South Atlantic Conference second-team honors were forward Diego Deschamps, midfielder Chris Nash, and defender Callum Holm. The Railsplitters are now set for Friday's South Atlantic Conference semifinal matchup against arch-rival Carson-Newman College in Rock Hill, South Carolina at 7 p.m. at the Rock Hill Sports Complex. In women's soccer, on Wednesday evening, the Lincoln Memorial University Lady Railsplitter soccer team traveled to Greenville, Tennessee to compete in the quarterfinals of the 2012 South Atlantic Conference Tournament as this year's number 6 seed. The Lady Railsplitters were taking on cross-state foe and number 3 seed Tusculum College in a match that was originally slated for Tuesday but was pushed back a day due to the inclement weather that moved into the East Tennessee area. Wednesday's match got started on a rough note for the Lady Splitters as Tusculum's Alicia Pugh scored at the end of the 14th minute with help from teammate Taylor Lewis to give the Pioneers a 1-0 lead early in the match. After playing the remainder of the half in a scoreless stalemate, Tusculum again struck pay dirt less than 2 minutes into the second half when Amy Nettler scored at the 46:38 mark with help from Gabrielle Witt to give the Pioneers their final 2-0 margin of victory. The LMU women end the year with a 7-7-2 record in the 2012 South Atlantic Conference season. By the way, Lincoln Memorial University newcomer midfielder Josephine Hedstrom was named to the All-South Atlantic Conference first team by head coaches throughout the league last week. Hedstrom was joined by teammate Sam Adams, who earned All-South Atlantic Conference second team honors for her defender position. And finally, moving to LMU volleyball. Although volleyball is an inside sport, Coach Jenny Michael and her Lady Railsplitters had to wait until Wednesday evening for their chance to get revenge against Mars Hill College for their 3-0 September 18th loss to the Lions. The final meeting of the regular season between the two South Atlantic Conference opponents was pushed until Wednesday evening due to expected nasty conditions that might prohibit safe travel for the Lions out of North Carolina and over the mountain and down the road to Harriet. From the opening serve of Wednesday's match, LMU dominated the Lions by winning in straight sets 25-10, 25-19, and 26-24 to move their season record to 17-10 overall, 9-4 in South Atlantic Conference play. With only five matches remaining on the regular season schedule, the Lady Railsplitters have a heavy week in store. This Friday and Saturday, LMU travels to Hickory, North Carolina and Brevard, North Carolina to take on Lenore Ryan and Brevard College in league play before traveling to Jefferson City, Tennessee, November 6th to take on arch-rival Carson-Newman College. The LMU women will close out the regular season November 9th and 10th when they host the Bulldogs of Wingate University in the Indians of Catawba College. That's got you caught up to date. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we're going to talk to the head man of the women's basketball program here at Lincoln Memorial University, Coach Roger Hodge, and it's right after this on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
I will help families adopt children from around the world and in our own backyard.
I am teaching ethics to the next generation of lawyers.
I will make a difference for the underserved of this region.
I will be an advocate for my clients.
As a prosecutor, I fought for those who couldn't speak for themselves.
I'm a lawyer and professor.
I will be a lawyer.
I will be a lawyer.
I will be a lawyer.
I guess we'll take Morty. Yes.
Pick last. Ouch. A vault will put you back on top. Quenches and kicks. Incoming! Yeah! You're a super soda mercenary! Vault! Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Get to it!
History comes alive at the Abraham Lincoln Library and Museum on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University in Harrogate, Tennessee. Located 60 miles north of Knoxville and 5 minutes from the entrance of Cumberland Gap National Historic Park, the museum is home of one of the largest privately held Lincoln collections in the country.
A place to learn and play. My museum includes interactive exhibits as well as special events and educational programs. For more information, go to www.lmu.net.edu.
We represent the Coke brand. We would like to sue Coca-Cola Zero. Would you say that we have a case?
For what?
For taste infringement.
We want to just sue them back to the Stone Age to send a message that they're tampering with really the flagship of the company.
It's one company. It's like you suing yourself.
Yeah, but they're on a different part of our floor.
Da, 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 da.
Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. As we promised, we're sitting now with the head coach of the women's basketball team, Coach Roger Hodge. And first off, Coach, thanks for joining us. I imagine it's a very fun part of the year for you right now. That practice is starting and games are on the horizon.
Well, in some ways, it's a lot of fun. It's in terms of finding out about the kids that we've brought in and how they're going to gel together. Excuse me. That part of it is a very interesting part of our job. But there are obviously a lot of challenges in putting in your system and the learning pains that you go through this time of the year.
Since you mentioned putting in your system, this is the second year you've been at the helm here of LMU. What's the difference between this year and last year when you first started here?
I think from a personnel standpoint, we're able to play a little more, quite frankly, how I like to play. We're a lot quicker this year, more athletic, and don't get me wrong, I loved last year's team. They were a great group of kids. We threw a lot of pieces together in a hurry, and so this year we were able to, to tweak it and do some things recruiting to become a little more athletic, and I think that's going to translate to, to a little bit of a different product on the floor.
We hear all the time mostly from media and other spots where it seems like once a coach comes in, it takes him a little bit of time to get his recruits or his team in to get his system underneath you. This is your second year. You've had 2 big recruiting classes. Do you think you're kind of ahead of the curve a little bit?
I think very much so. And again, in terms of last year's recruiting class, having to sign that many kids in a short period of time, you kind of take what you can get, especially when you get in there late. Mm-hmm. This year we were able to be a little more selective. So, yeah, I do think the pieces fit a little better, and I do think that we've moved the ball forward a little bit in terms of getting it where we want it.
Since the last time I think you were on the show with Rusty, I think you were talking about the start of the practice schedule. Since then, practice has been open. You've now had a few weeks. You've probably went through a few inter-squad matches going back and forth. How's the team look so far?
Well, I think so far so good. I mean, the young kids are progressing nicely. It's still a challenge, coming from the high school ranks to, to adjusting to the college level of play. For the newcomers, given that the system is a little bit different to fit our personnel better, I think that they've done a good job of adjusting to that. Got a couple nagging little injury situations with with Haley Nelson and Courtney Cox. They'll be back soon, but they haven't been with us here for a couple weeks. So it's important that we get them healthy, and but we're excited about it. We think that the potential's there. Again, if we can get healthy and stay healthy, to do some positive things.
Coming from kind of an outside broadcaster's point of view, we don't necessarily see all the coaching that goes in. What are some of the most difficult things once practice starts between the opening night of practice to that first official game?
I think for me, the most difficult part is meshing the young kids with the returners, because you've got some that really kind of understand what you're trying to do, understand your terminology, understand a lot of your schemes, and they have to help bring the younger kids along because they're basically a blank slate. Then the other difficult part is dealing with things that aren't in your control, like somebody turning an ankle or the injuries that you have to deal with.
Let's talk about the roster a little bit. I was looking over the seniors you have on this year's roster. Some of them I think that were not recruited by you, some of them I think that were. Talk about how they're going to have to step up this year, knowing they are in their final year of eligibility. They have to be the role models for the underclassmen.
Well, and actually Mariah Richardson, I guess, is the only player that that it's not from not a kid that I recruited, and I think that has been something that I don't want to say it's been a challenge, but it's been something different for those young ladies because we had 3 dynamic leaders last year in Amberly Odell, Lauren Cochran, and Daisha Lee Solomon. So they have always took kind of a subservient role to those 3 kids. This year it has been an adjustment for them to step up, and it's not just what they do in a leadership role. It's how our kids perceive them to be the leaders. We have nominated captains, and those 3 seniors, along with Miranda Bodie, is the first team I've had that has 4 captains. But in terms of how our team perceives the leadership, those are the kids that they feel like need to lead a team, and that is a very important role to step into.
Before we start talking about this year's schedule, I was looking over your graduate assistant, no stranger to LMU athletics, Amberly Odell. What will she bring to the table as a graduate assistant coach that can help the team?
The same thing as Tasha Washington. Just they understand what I want. Amberly, having played for me a year, kind of gets that too. And I'm getting up there a little bit, and certainly far removed from the athletic days. So they are more close to these kids' age, and having played very recently, that's an important factor in being able to relate what the kids are going through. So it's not just them communicating with our players, but they're also able to communicate with me in a way that gives me a better feel for what our kids are going through and maybe what they need on an individual basis each day.
All right, you started practice. You've probably had some inter-squad matchups in practice. I think you were telling me before we went on the air you actually had a scrimmage last night. How's the team looking so far? I know you said they're a little banged up, but so far so good?
I think so, and I think that's probably a good way to put it. Their intensity and effort has been really good. It was interesting to watch last night, just in terms of, you go through practices and you perform one way in practice, but when the lights are on and you're actually playing against somebody that's not wearing your jersey, it's a little harder to focus and to execute. And I think that's the biggest thing that we saw last night. Was, okay, when we get to this point and a defender comes out and really puts pressure on you, can you stay within the scheme and execute the next part of whatever play we may be in? And, that along with, the fact that we were able to play at a tempo that we wanted to, I think that was very pleasing to me last night.
Last year, you're in your first year here at the helm of LMU, and I think you kind of set the bar very high for you and your squad going out and getting that winning record. You start off this season back in exhibition mode. You got to go to Murfreesboro to take on MTSU. The men have done a bunch of exhibitions, and they kind of set the bar a little high for your all squad the way they played against Florida State. But that being said, you get MTSU coming up pretty soon. What are you looking for in that game?
Well, I think first of all, obviously, very proud of our men's program and how they've been able to compete with, among the best teams in the country. So, that would be a tough comparison because, obviously our program is not where theirs is. They're a top 5 team and a top 5 program annually, nationally, and obviously we're very happy about that and very proud of them. The things that I look for in any preseason situations are, how do your kids step their level of play up to be able to play against a higher level of competition? That's why we schedule the game. A former player of mine, Kim Bruton is an assistant there. I know, what they expect out of their program and what great tradition they have there. We want to step up and play at that level. And, I know Josh often says, he looks at that as an opportunity to expose his team. And that's what we want to do too, because, if you play against lesser competition, oftentimes you get away with things that you won't when you play against good teams. So we won't play against a team all year long that's as good as Middle Tennessee, and that's what we're excited about.
Talk about how this exhibition game will help with recruiting going farther down the state.
Well, and again, we've got a kid, from the Murfreesboro area, from Blackman High School, and Courtney Cox. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like she's going to get to play because she's one of the kids that's injured. But that is an area that we have tried to make some inroads with. Hopefully we'll be able to get a few of those kids out to see us play. So just the fact that, we're kind of on that stage, we hope will help get us some exposure there.
All right, you go past the MTSU game, and I know as a coach you don't like to look ahead, but I have to ask this. You get past the MTSU, the exhibition, your first 2 games are at home inside of the Tex Turner Arena, just November 9th and November 10th. How exciting is that for you to finally get off the road, quit recruiting, you get your practice, you can put your game plan in, and you get ready for actual, honest-to-goodness basketball on November 9th?
Well, and ironically you say that in terms of looking ahead past Middle Tennessee. Quite frankly, that's what we do this time of the year. I mean, to us, Middle Tennessee is an exhibition. We want to go out and compete at the highest level possible. But all of these are in preparation for November 9th. So it's the first tournament I've had since we've been here. It will be 2 very important region games against Conference Carolina teams. So, that'll be a great challenge for us. We always like to hold serve at home. So again, we've got our work cut out for us, but we're certainly excited to be able to host a tournament here in Tex Turner Arena.
I'm sure it doesn't hurt things. You get to look at Coker a year before they come into the conference.
Absolutely, absolutely. And here's a little bit of an irony. We've got Coker and Queens on the schedule. Both of them were scheduled before the announcement, but it obviously works out well just getting a little exposure to those teams.
All right, so you've got a couple weeks left to go. How excited are the girls? Getting ready. They've got practice right now. They've got an exhibition coming up. They've got the first couple of games at home. How excited are the girls?
I think it just now really hit them, and because we've been so focused on learning and teaching that last night it was like, okay, competition's here, and it's almost like I get it now. And that will become more intense, as we go through our next scrimmage and then, against the exhibition against Middle Tennessee. It's the biggest thing, and what I've always felt like is the most exciting, is not just the emotion of getting to play against outside competition, but there's a little bit of fear there too. So it adds for more of the rush of competition. So I think that's starting to hit them in a big way.
Getting ready into the 2012-2013 season, from your perspective, your standpoint, what are the expectations and goals for this season?
Well, it's always, that's a fine line to walk because you don't want to appear overconfident. But our expectations, whether it be last year, this year, next year, whenever it may be, our goal is to always win a championship. Whether we're able to do that obviously depends on how we're able to perform and execute what we're doing. I think from a physical standpoint, last year's team was able to compete with, by the end of the year with anybody in the region. It's always a work in progress, basketball being a tournament sport and a situation where you have opportunities to get better every day. I think physically, the capabilities are there to compete at the highest level. It will depend on how hard we work and how much better we get every day in comparison with our opponents.
Very quickly, give you 15 seconds. I'll give you, look right in here at this camera. Tell people at home why they should come out and watch the Lady Railsplitters this year.
Well, I think the first thing I would say is to support just a great group of kids. They have their group that is just tremendous, student athletes in every sense of the word. On top of that, I think we're going to be a fun team to watch. It's going to be a lot faster and more exciting than last year's team.
All right, thanks, Coach Hodge. They tip off an exhibition November 6th at MTSU. We're going to take another time out. We'll come back with the wrap-up here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
At the foot of the Cumberland Gap, Lincoln Memorial University honors the vision and spirit of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln's values are perfectly in sync with the modern educational experience at LMU. Our students find personal attention is a way of life and a way to success. If Lincoln Memorial University fits your vision of college, visit our website at lmunet.edu for more information.
Sigmund Communications is your local radio and television stations bringing your local information, local news, and the best music from yesterday and today. Sigmund Communications was established in 1987 on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Since then, we have been involved in community events and other projects. Sigmund Communications is not only your local radio and television stations, but we are a learning facility aimed at educating students in the field of broadcast communications. Sigmund Communications, not just the great building with satellites that sits on the hill.
We're now MediaStream, bringing home to you more and more improvements. As your hometown team, we're dedicated to bringing our friends and neighbors more service upgrades than ever before. Always available 24/7 customer service and technical support. 30-day money-back guarantee on services. Improved bundles that will save you money. Get ready to do more of the things you love with the people you love and with savings you'll love. Call 1-800-392-2662 for details. MediaStream, bringing it home to you.
Bringing it home to you.
Welcome back to the finale here of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. As we said in the opening, with November here, the fall and winter sports are starting to collide into each other, and with no further ado, let's get into a little bit of the schedule. Volleyball has got a fast-paced couple of weeks here. They'll be on the road this weekend as they'll travel to Lenore-Ryan Friday night and at Brevard on Saturday. Tuesday night, they'll be at Carson-Newman, and then the following weekend, they'll be back home to finish off the 2012 volleyball season as they'll host Wingate and Catawba. Men's soccer is on the road. They're over in the semifinals of the 2012 South Atlantic Conference Tournament as they will be playing Carson-Newman College, that tournament being held over in Greenville, Tennessee. Women's basketball, as we said a minute ago, they're on the road for their exhibition opener on November the 6th. They'll travel to take on MTSU, the Blue Raiders in Murfreesboro. That's on November the 6th. Tip-off will be at 7 o'clock. Pre-game should be at 6:30 on 91.3 FM, The Gap. And also we want to remind you the men's basketball team has an inter-squad matchup coming up this Saturday evening, 7 o'clock over inside of the Textern Arena. Admission is free, so come on out and get your first look at Josh Search's squad here for the 2012-2013 season. With that being said, that's all we have time for here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. For all of the LMU athletics updates, go to the website, www.lmurailsplitters.com. For everybody behind the scenes, I'm Adam Haley. Until next week, so long, everyone.